If the New Testament Gospels were a race, the book of Mark would be the sprint. It's the second book you'll find tucked between Matthew and Luke, and its placement there is key. While Matthew gives us the sermon, Mark gives us the action. It's a rapid-fire, breathless account of the life of Jesus, connecting the deep-rooted promises of the past to the new unfolding reality of his mission. Christian tradition has long linked this account to a man named John Mark, a companion of the Apostle Peter. You can almost feel that connection in the narrative voice. It's not a distant academic history. It feels like an eyewitness report full of vivid details and raw emotion. The story rushes forward, constantly using the word immediately, as if the storyteller is so swept up in the events they can't wait to tell you what happened next. It focuses less on what Jesus said and more on what he did. Now picture the world around the year 70 AD. It's a tumultuous and uncertain time, especially for the early Christian communities facing persecution. This gospel was likely written for them as a powerful and clear reminder of who Jesus was and what he accomplished. It seems to be for an audience outside of Judea. The narrator even pauses at times to explain local Jewish customs, as if he's speaking to an outsider looking in. The book itself is built like a gripping two-act drama. Act 1 is set in Galilee. It's a whirlwind of public ministry. Jesus bursts onto the scene, calling his first disciples, healing the sick, and confronting religious leaders. The pace is relentless, building a sense of unstoppable momentum and divine authority. But as his popularity grows, so does the opposition. Then, right at the book's center, there's a dramatic pivot. Act 2 begins. The location shifts to the long road to Jerusalem. The tone becomes more somber, more focused. Jesus begins preparing his followers for the true cost of discipleship, predicting his own suffering and death. The narrative slows its frantic pace, zeroing in on the final fateful week in Jerusalem, his arrest, his trial, and his crucifixion. Woven through this action-packed story are a few powerful ideas. First, the undeniable authority of Jesus. Mark doesn't just say Jesus is powerful, he shows it. Jesus commands a storm to be still, and it listens. He confronts dark spiritual forces, and they flee. He acts with a power that leaves everyone asking, who then is this? Second, the messy reality of discipleship. The followers of Jesus aren't portrayed as perfect heroes. They're confused, they stumble, and they often misunderstand. They are a relatable group trying to figure out what it means to follow this radical teacher. Finally, there's the book's central mystery, what's often called the messianic secret. Jesus constantly performs incredible miracles and then tells people, don't tell anyone. Why? Because Mark is building to an unexpected climax. The ultimate reveal of who Jesus is won't come from a display of overwhelming power, but from an act of profound sacrifice. He is the king, but his path to the throne is the cross. He is the suffering servant. So, in the Bible's overarching story, Mark provides this essential, raw, and urgent portrait. It shows God's kingdom arriving not with a conquering army, but with a humble servant who came to give his life. And the gospel ends just as abruptly as it begins. The earliest manuscripts conclude with the women discovering the empty tomb, running away in terror and amazement, and saying nothing to anyone because they were afraid. It's a shocking cliffhanger ending, and it almost feels like a direct question to you, the listener. The story is out. The tomb is empty. Now, what will you do?